Okay, chemistry, pre-AP and on level, this is for you. So we're continuing in the thermo notes, unit 10, talking about energy and heat and all of that good stuff. In my previous video, we went over all of the vocabulary words on the first page. So if you have not watched that first video, it's important to go back and watch that so you understand as I start to use these terms what I am talking about. So for those of you who are still sticking around for this video, we're going to talk about heat. So in your notes, it has heat, and beside it, it has a little Q. That is the symbol for heat. So whenever you see it in a chemical equation, because we are going to be working math problems, I know, with heat, it has a Q to represent heat. So you're going to see something like Q equals MC delta T. This right here is heat. Okay, that's the Q, it's heat. And so whenever you see that, that's what it's referring to. And then also in the notes, we talked about the definition, but then it says if it's left undisturbed, that heat is going to flow from the high temperature to the low temperature. And you know this to be true. Whenever you grab ice, ice melts because the heat in your hand is flowing into the ice and making it warmer. And so therefore it starts to melt. Otherwise, heat wouldn't melt, oh my goodness, ice wouldn't melt. If I left it in the fridge, it's not gonna melt. There's no heat to transfer into it. The temperature is not, if you think about heat, is energy in transit as a result of temperature difference. If you think about temperatures, my hand is hotter, so I'm gonna be transferring heat. A couple of things to note, the units of heat are going to be something called joules, and we represent it with a J. Now, if you remember our wonderful song, King Henry Died Drinking Chocolate Milk, we could have kilojoules. So this is my base unit of joules, and a lot of times you will see it as kilojoules. So that means that's 1,000 joules. Remember that back from King Henry Died. So that's very important. And then we also have calories, which we've all heard of calories. And this is kind of how we measure those and how we know when I eat food, it's telling me how many calories I have. That's how much energy essentially I'm putting into my body. And so a calorie is equal to, 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 joules. And then a kilocal would be 1,000 calories. So keep that in mind. And then the kilocal is what we actually call a calorie of food. So that word that you've heard before, calories, and we count them all the time, it is from this, but like I said, it's the kilocals. So in this instance. So there's an example down below, and it is asking you to convert calories to joules. If you remember from the factor label method, you can solve for it really easily, and we'll do it together right here. So it tells me that I have, if a candy bar contains 350 calories, capital C calories, that's food calories, which would be 350 kilocalories. How many calories is that? How many joules is that? So what I'm given is 350 capital C calories, which is actual food calories that we use all the time. And it wants to know how many normal calories, lowercase c, it is. And then there's a second problem. It wants us to also solve for joules. So we're gonna do one at a time. So first I'm always gonna start with my given, which would be 350 big calories, which I know, put it over 1, I know that 1 big calorie, a C, is equal to 1,000 small calories, because that's what my notes tell me. So units cancel. So all I'm doing is taking that 350 and multiplying it by 1,000. So then that would be 350,000. So that's how many calories are in there. And then if you were to solve for joules instead, then you were to take this, we're going to change it to joules. We want to know joules. So we still start with the same thing. I could have not erased my work, but that's okay. So we still start with the same thing. That's 350 calories with a capital C. I first need to get it, I only know what 1 calorie to joules is equal to, so first I need to get into calories like I previously had. So 1 big cal is equal to 1,000 small calories. And then I can take my relationship, which is joules, and I know for every 1 calorie, I have 4.184 joules. So then this calorie, the big C cancels the big C, the little c cancels the little c, and then I'm left with joules. So then you take that 350,000 and just multiply it by 4.184. So that's how you solve the example at the bottom of page 1 of the notes. And then in the next video, we're gonna go on, and now that you kind of have a better understanding of heat, its units and its definition and its symbol, we're gonna move on and talk a little bit more about other ways heat is used.